Well, I figured since I reviewed 28 Years Later, I'd take us all the way back to the beginning with 28 Days Later, which was released in 2002 and was directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland, and takes place after a group of animal rights activists accidentally release a rage-inducing virus from a lab. The story picks up 28 days later with our protagonist, Jim, played by Cillian Murphy, waking up from a coma in a deserted London. 28 Days Later is a groundbreaking post-apocalyptic British horror film that redefined the zombie genre for a whole new generation. And my bad, sorry for calling them zombies. I know in my last video there was a couple of comments that said, hey, they're not zombies, they're infected. My bad, guys. Only the writer of this film and the lead star mentioned them as zombies, so I don't know what to tell you guys. Anyways, the movie begins with these activists coming to rescue these chimpanzees that are in these cages and are getting experimented on. Infected or not, freeing these wild chimpanzees from these cages was a really stupid idea.
Stop! You've no idea!
I always found the scientist in this scene really dumb. Why would you tell these activists that the chimpanzees are infected with rage? Bro, they're infected with a virus. Tell them that. Using the word rage sounds more like an emotion instead of a tangible illness.
Infected with what?
Rage.
Anyways, the fact that animal rights activists caused this chaos is pure genius. Danny Boyle's use of digital video behind the camera gives us like gritty and documentary kind of feel. Empty shots of London are eerie and unforgettable, and the fact that they pulled those shots off was incredible. Them waiting for it to be dawn and the streets to be empty to shoot those scenes. So supposedly it was a creative choice to shoot the film like this. It wasn't like they had budget issues, it was a creative choice that some today might find dated and distracted. But not me. I like the way this film was shot. I personally like how grainy and unpolished it looks. Its grungy and amateur style is what prevents it from looking too sterile in Hollywood. It truly feels like someone was stuck in that universe with these characters, following them around, documenting all the events. Especially when the main character Jim wakes up from the hospital and is out in the streets of London. And that's when we have to talk about that church scene, because that's when Jim first encounters the infected, and the way they just stand there and stare at him with their mouths open was just terrifying as it was, because they're unlike any of the other infected, because they're usually full of rage and are running and screaming. And I found that whole bit with them just staring at him with their mouths open very disturbing. Typical horror movies have jump scares. This is a very different kind of horror film. It makes you terrified not only for the characters, but the evil itself that waits for them in the future. The even worst part about all of this is that the people that are infected are still in there somewhere, at least the way I see it. And they're always trying to fight off the unending virus that's taking over their mind and body. Just like that scene with Hannah and her father, when every drop of blood lands into his eye and he's preventing himself from getting his daughter infected, and he's trying to fight it off. The infected are not slow and lumbering zombies. This film introduced zombies that could run, and man do they run fucking fast.
Get up!
And just like those monsters, the film is just as much as about human survival and morality. There's a scene where this guy gets asked if he got bit, and before he can even answer, he's getting chopped up with a machete. Naomi Harris and Brendan Gleeson give strong, grounded performances here alongside Cillian Murphy, in which watching him in this movie years later just adds a whole nother layer of star power, because after this film, he went on to do so many good projects, working with Christopher Nolan and Peaky Blinders, Oppenheimer. But something I forgot to mention in my 28 Years Later movie review was the absence of the musical score in The House in a Heartbeat, which is one of my favorite music scores ever. And something I do like about the theme music is that in this first film, it's more slowed down compared to Weeks. In Weeks, it's more intense and action heavy. The character development is another standout, because once we reach the ending of the film, it shows polar opposites between the characters Selena and Jim. Jim is more scared and helpless, whereas Selena doesn't care about anyone or anything and is a cold survivor. For God's sake, she even murdered somebody for not answering a question on time. But going back to Jim is the fact that he was a scared man, then turning into a ruthless killer in order to save Selena and the young girl Hannah. And this scene signifies the entire movie once they're in that military base. It does the old trope of humans are the real monsters in a way that still manages to be fresh. The entire movie we see the infected as the monsters when humans are the monsters by the end of the film. Although I did kind of find it funny how Jim, a 150-pound guy who's a delivery driver, just takes out all these soldiers in their own base like he's Rambo. 28 Days Later inspired a wave of fast-infected films and shows, such as World War Z and The Walking Dead. It even revived the genre as a whole. It even marked the rise of writer Alex Garland, who went on to make acclaimed work like Ex Machina and Annihilation. Anyways guys, 28 Days Later is a really good zombie flick, easily one of the best. It was grim, harsh, and the whole movie felt like a documented styled nightmare. So I'll be giving it 4 out of 5 stars. Thank you guys as always for watching. I look forward to bringing you on more videos pretty soon. Don't forget to subscribe and like. And don't forget to comment down below what movies y'all want me to check out here on the channel next. I'm Matt, and I'll see you guys in the next video.